Hello and welcome to this hard hat tour of St Peter in the Forest. My name's Francis and I'm the Community Engagement Officer here. Before we go inside and take a look at what's going on in the church building site, we're just in the churchyard at the moment on this incredible sunny day. So lovely here. And because of all the sunshine recently, the plants here have gone a little bit crazy. I'm not sure if you can see around me. Everything is in full bloom. There's some lovely oxeye daisies just behind me and lots of other flowers that I have no idea what they are, but they're looking very nice. I was actually going for a little bit of the undergrowth here, looking for some graves as part of our interpretation plan, giving some of the history of the church. And I had a very near encounter with a fox, sadly too quick to be got on film, but it's just remarkable how much wildlife there is here, sort of right on the edge of Epping Forest. You might be watching this as part of our digital newsletter or just on YouTube, in which case go onto our website and sign up to our newsletter, as we're trying to get as many followers that way as possible. So it's a really great way to keep you updated with everything that we've got coming up here in the very near future. I'm outside the south entrance next to the Campanile bell tower of St Peter's. We're going to go inside now and have a look at all the work that's been going on. Our roof building team have been doing a great job of keeping things going even during lockdown, and making sure all the subcontractors for various bits and pieces are also busy and hard at work. There's been a lot of changes since we last had our hard hat tour where people were able to come around in person. So let's go and have a look. I'm of course in the nave of the church now with the east window behind me, and if I spin around you should see an absolute nest of scaffolding from floor to ceiling, and all the dividing walls are now in place in the church that delineate some of the new community spaces that we've got here. So that's really exciting. We're just waiting on the painters and decorators to come in, which will probably begin next week, so they've already come in for a little look around. One of the other bits of work we've got coming up in the near future at the east end of the church is the remounting of these mosaic tiles in the concrete that was laid a few weeks back. Once the tiles are in place, we can build up the parquet floor around them, which will also be sanded and revarnished. We've got some fantastic old photographs of these mosaic tiles, but they were latterly covered up and only rediscovered when building work started in November with the stripping of the church interior. Our roof team have done a great job saving these tiles for future use. We're going to go and have a look upstairs now at the new community spaces taking shape. I've got to climb a ladder, but eventually our first floor will be accessible by a staircase and a lift. The steel frame to hold the mezzanine up started to be installed in mid-January, so I'll show some old videos I've taken showing just how much progress we've made on the build so far. I'm now upstairs on the first floor of the church in what is going to be one of our community rooms. It's shaping up to be one of my favourite spaces in the building. I think it's so nice up here, and you get a really great sense of all the light flooding in, and it's only going to be better when the scaffolding is away from the west end. It's going to be really, really lovely up here, and it's a great size, and looking forward to lots of fantastic activities taking place here. Although the upstairs community room is by no means finished, you can get a great sense of the progress since last November. The cracks in the west wall have been strengthened with steel reinforcing bars and then filled with mortar to make the building structurally sound. So just coming back towards the east of the church from the upstairs community room, we're going to take a look in the bell tower now, as that is soon going to be the site of some really exciting activity to do with the historical and heritage side of our project. So our interpretation team are going to be making a visit in the coming weeks to fit a cabinet of curiosities into our bell tower room, and that's going to contain lots of information about the local area and the church itself by collecting stories and objects that relate to people buried in our churchyard and the professions and trades that were carried out on Wood Street throughout the 19th and early 20th century. So it'd be a really nice way to link lots of aspects of our heritage project together, but in a really fun way with objects to tell the story of the area. Our site manager Andy's given me the okay to go up even higher into the bell tower, somewhere I've not been yet. The ladder is going up right past the bells because a little bit more lead is needed for the roof here, so when it rains the cabinet of curiosities won't get too wet. There's not that much to see in the belfry, a couple of nesting pigeons and our 2 church bells. The larger bell was founded in 1840 by Thomas Mears in London and sounds during Holy Communion when the bread and wine is consecrated by the priest. The smaller bell is used to call the congregation to service. With my feet back firmly on the ground, we're going to take a look at how everything is shaping up downstairs. It might not look like much, but this small cupboard is going to be our boiler room. Previously, some of the memorial plaques to the war dead of the parish and the church congregation were in here, and I'll put up some photos of them being removed, because obviously that had to be handled really carefully, not only to preserve the objects themselves, but out of respect for the people they commemorated. So we're just waiting installation of the boiler. Lots of venting work has been done, and the wiring as well in the ceiling. So I'm currently stood where the kitchen for our new cafe space is going to be. So you might be able to see on the wall behind me, there's some markings up for where the oven's going to be installed. I really like coming into the building site and seeing the stained glass windows as well, because they stand out so well in the dim lighting. And then behind me on this wall you can see where the stairs led up to the Western Gallery, which was dismantled earlier this year and was put in originally as part of the 1887 extension to the church. This video that I took last November shows the north stairway up to the old gallery and gives a really good sense of how the church space was until late last year. By this time, the south staircase was unsafe and the ceiling had to be propped up to stop the arch collapsing. We're going to finish the tour at the west end of the church and take a look at the brickwork that's been going on here. There were really detailed talks about the exact type of mortar to use between the bricks and the exact composition to make it match with the old brickwork. So a lot of painstaking care and attention is being put into, the minutest detail of the church to make sure it's as spectacular and special as possible. The west wall has recently been sandblasted to clean off years' worth of grime, and some of the old brickwork was then removed. To our amazement, this revealed original glasswork installed in the 1887 extension. These windows were photographed in 1950, shortly before they were covered up by the porch that was built between 1951 and 1952. Thank you for joining me on that quick virtual hard hat tour of St Peter's. I hope you enjoyed it. My very real hard hat certainly came in helpful as I banged my head about 4 times going up into the bell tower. Don't forget to give us a like on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, or even better, sign up to our digital newsletter, which is on our website, www.stpeterintheforest.org, for more updates and news about what we've got coming up in the near future and slightly further down the line with all our community projects, which will get going as soon as we're able.